Welcome to another episode of Connecting Women Who Break Barriers. I'm your host, Aradhana, and I really want to talk about mental health. So, if that's something that may trigger you, please stick around because I'm speaking from experience. I'm also a certified mental health first aider, so I've got your back. But as you may be aware, May is the month of mental health awareness, and it's something that has been criticized or shamed for a very long period of time. And that's something that I really don't want you to feel at all. If it's a space where you feel like you can't share what you're going through, know that there is a lot of support available for you. But also, when you start to work through the depression or anxiety, the life that you can create on the other side of it is actually great. So let's get started. I want to share a bit more about my journey. So, if this is the first time that you're here, the reason I created this podcast was to connect women and men, because I know there's some male listeners as well, with other people who have been through tough situations in life, are willing to share their story like I will do with you today, and also who have different ways of dealing with the ups and downs that life actually throws our way. So, don't feel like you're alone in any of these conversations. Some of them might hit home a little bit harder than others, but they're an opportunity for you to really connect to who you are, to connect to the love that resides within inside you, and also to give you a chance to really heal, to feel the joy that you get to experience on the other side of healing is actually truly a big blessing. So I do hope you get to stick around and learn from all of us. You know, my amazing guests have shared openly about what they've overcome and how they've overcome it. And that's why I don't want you to think that any form of mental suffering that you're experiencing today, you can't actually overcome it. And the reason being, I've experienced depression for a very long period of time. And that's because I was just stuck in the past. I was always hoping for life to be a little bit differently to what it was. I used to see families and, the parents and the siblings have a connection that for a long period of time I didn't necessarily have with my family. And all I kept thinking about was, why is my life like this? So when you start to look at life, with the glass empty instead of half full, it's very easy to feel like you're being hard done by, your life isn't great, and you can't even see the silver lining or a path ahead that shows that things are actually going to get better. And yes, it doesn't get better overnight. And yes, you will still have moments where it is a little bit tough. But in saying that, it doesn't mean to give up. It doesn't mean that things can't change, because they 100% can change, and they actually do. So for me, getting help professionally made a big difference, because having someone to talk to with what I was going through, as I said, my family situation has probably been the biggest, I guess, area of learning for me, in a blessing and in also in like a way that's been quite tough. But I value family a lot. So if there is something in your life that is in the top three values of, what's important to you, and it's a space that's not working, that can easily cause you rather anxiety and or depression. So that's where that comes from. It's not because you're doing anything wrong, you don't have the capability to step on the other side of it. It's just that you care, and caring is actually a very superpower. And that's what I want you to embrace. When you think about why you're sad about the past, it's because you cared about a situation or about people or something, and you wanted it to be different. But we can't change what's happened, right? So we can only learn from those experiences. And even when we're anxious about what's going to happen in the future, again, it's because you're nervous, you care, and you want a great outcome. So is the depression or anxiety really helping you? Probably not. But it's preparing you for what's to come, and it allows you to actually live in the present moment. It allows you to really learn more about yourself and say, okay, well, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow because nobody does. And even in the times where we've thought we knew what would happen tomorrow, that didn't necessarily happen. So don't hold yourself back or feel that there is no other way out, especially when you're feeling down in the dumps and you're having one of those days or one of those moments where you're like, I don't know how to get myself out of it. So, as I said, getting professional help has been a big game changer for me because I think sometimes when someone else gets to hear what you're going through or you've had a chance to air out whatever it is that you're feeling, experiencing, and not being able to process, they can help you see it from a different perspective. They put a lens on it that you may not have been able to. So that is really helpful from that perspective. But also, what I've found with myself and my clients is as soon as we start to say something, generally we know the answer. We know how to fix that situation, or we know that, hang on, it's not as big as of a monster as it is in reality versus what's going on in my head. So our head can, I've said multiple times, our mind can be our best friend or a bit of an enemy or a pain in the bum, to be honest. But that's because it goes on repeat and is trying to protect you. It's trying to keep you safe. But then when you step away and you look at what's actually going on, the biggest benefit that you have is as an observer, you get to say, well, is my brain over analyzing everything and making something out of maybe nothing? Or do I need to pull it in a little bit? Or, okay, there is something that I need to do because there may be danger or something that I haven't really thought about. So it's not to say that all of these situations can be fixed with, one conversation with someone. Their understanding of the situation, understanding a potential outcome of it is important. But if we get stuck in that outcome or we try to control the outcome, that's when the anxiety really kicks in. And then also, naturally, if we think about a similar situation in the past that again feels like it's on repeat, that's where the depression kicks in. So now you would realize that the past can naturally depress you, and even a thought about the future being similar can cause depression. But also, being worried about the future can cause anxiety. And I know that a lot of my clients have experienced both because we go to a family event and everyone's wondering, oh, is this person married yet? What does she look like? Everyone has those questions and all of those sometimes critical ways of thinking. So we start to get anxious about that event before it's even happened. And the reason these things are natural is because it's your default way of thinking. It's how you've thought for a very long period of time from your childhood to now, and they feel natural. But they're not actually natural because you can rewire your way of thinking. You can change your way of thinking, and you can change your way of actually living as well. So, one thing that I've started doing is rather than getting stuck internally about why something's happened, how I don't know how to change it, and also re recording the same conversation in my head over and over again and playing out the same outcome because that's how I think it's going to be, I've stopped in its tracks. When it happens, I don't necessarily stop it there and then because I'm like, okay, my brain needs a minute, but I catch myself. And that's the starting point to healing yourself. That's a starting point to really understanding yourself better. When you are having thoughts that are not inspiring, that are not empowering, but you catch yourself, that's the start to saying, okay, it's happened again. Okay, that's a pattern that I need to work through. So as you start to think about your own way of dealing with life, if it's causing you depression or anxiety, as I said, know that you're not alone. There are a lot of people, including myself, out there to help you who have professional skills to help you with it. But one thing that I want you to take away and something that you can do from this conversation going forward, if you're willing and open to it, is every time you start to go on a bit of a spiral where you're not feeling so well and you're starting to overanalyze the situation, catch yourself. Understand what that repeat thought pattern is and start documenting it. Even if you do it for 1 week, just to understand yourself better, you'll realize that it is similar experiences that are making you think that way. So how do we help you? We help you from looking at it objectively, without the emotion, and also from the perspective of what is the actual truth. So if you've been feeling that there's an event coming up, as I used that example before, and you're worried about what people will say about you, is their comments or what they say really that valuable? One thing I always remember, and someone might not necessarily like me saying this, but it's important to how I process things. No one else is going to be there to take care of you 24/7. No one else is necessarily paying all your bills. So if you're willing to have your back all the time, what anyone says or does will eventually stop mattering to you as well. And then as a result of it, the anxiety and depression will actually stop. But the other biggest way to help shift that mental narrative that might be bringing you down is actually physically moving, because it's stuck within your body, and the way to release anything is through movement. So, again, I encourage you, when you listen to this episode, to find a form of movement that you like. And it could just be walking, could be dancing, it could be any form of exercise. I don't care what it is, as long as you like it and you enjoy it. And commit to doing that 5 to 10 minutes every single day, especially in those moments when your mind is on autopilot and the constant chatter is pulling you down rather than empowering you. Get moving. Even if it's, as I said, just a walk around the block, or walk around your house, or walk around your office to pretend you're going to get water, and then coming back to your desk. Because this can be applied to any situation in life, whether it's a conversation with a colleague, your family, your friends, even just a conversation with yourself. Sometimes our own internal chatter is a bit crazy. So to get ourselves out of these funks that do lead to mental health challenges, there are physical ways and there are amazing ways that you can do it. And that's what I really want you to know, is that when I say you're not alone, you've got tools and people available to help you get out of those spaces. Because I have been in the most excruciating situations quite a few times in my life where I was like, how am I going to survive this moment? I either reached out to my professional coach, I went for a walk, or I journaled. Journaling for a lot of people feels very challenging because they're like, but I don't know what to write. Or everything they write down, they're like, wow, that was really intense. And yes, it probably was intense because you were, thinking about it over and over again in your head. But when you see it on paper, what it does is, again, it shifts it out of your mental body and releases it from your physical body. So the pain and suffering is gone. And the best part about journaling is you can just rip up that paper and throw it in the bin and not read it again. So you don't want to relive the annoying things that are bothering you today. We want to shift them out of your body through talking to someone, through journaling, or through movement. And if there's something else that really inspires you or that allows you to stay in the present moment, like art, or spending time with your family uninterrupted with your phone, cooking, having a glass of wine, having a bath, whatever that is for you, please keep that easily accessible, even if it's listening to a song. And if you don't have access to a paper, when I talk about journaling, you can write in your phone and delete that message or delete that note that you've made. So let's empower each other and use these tools to feel a lot better in life. And the other thing that I want to talk about, which has been a sticking point for me with my depression, was trying to suppress my feelings. So the way I was suppressing my feelings was through eating. And it didn't help. It didn't help in any sense, because no matter what I was eating didn't satisfy me, because it was again a temporary fix. I wasn't physically moving through the angst or the sadness that I was experiencing. Rather, I was really increasing it, because after eating, I didn't feel any better. I felt worse. So please be mindful of external substances that a lot of people do reach out to, whether it's food, alcohol, drugs, sex, even, or overworking. Like, where you're overindulging in anything, and that could be anything in your life, all of those ways of living tend to be a bit of a band-aid to whatever's going on internally. So if you feel like you're doing any of those things, because a lot of people that I've spoken to and a lot of my clients, including as I shared with myself, have had some form of addictive tendencies, that is probably a bit of an indicator that something internally needs a bit of a shake. So, if you feel like you want to get support on this journey with anything that you're going through, if you feel like your mental health is wavering a little bit, please reach out to me. I'm a coach and I love helping my clients through this, because it's something that I've experienced firsthand. But know that you can overcome it. And that's the most important point of today's conversation. You can overcome anything. You have the power to do it. You're an amazing adult and you actually deserve an amazing life as well. So take it in your own hands, one day at a time, to create the shift that you truly desire. And don't let your past or your future rob you of an amazing life today, because we all know we don't know how long we're here for, so we might as well enjoy life while we're here. And also have tools for the moments that are really, really crappy, right? Things are going to happen, and we know that we can't change any of that. So let's not ignore any of that, but let's also allow ourselves to dream big, to enjoy life, and to, you know, feel better overall. That's what I want you to feel. So I hope that resonates with you. I hope you feel a little bit more inspired to get the help that you need. I hope you feel like you've got a few tools under your belt as well, and that it gives you a chance to think about other things that may help you when you're feeling a little bit low, because you're not alone. There is different ways to handle whatever we're all going through, and finding the best way to handle it for yourself is going to be your magic power. So take the time to find it, keep it close to your heart, and use it whenever you are feeling down, because on the other side of that, and I'm sure you've already experienced it in life, there are amazing moments waiting for you. Sending you lots of love, and I appreciate you listening to another episode of Connecting Women Who Break Barriers. I invite you to share this episode with others so they can also learn and thrive in their life. And let me know what you think via the social media links. I'd love to connect with you, and I'd love to hear more about how I can help you further. I do offer coaching programs. So again, links in my bio, share all the details. And I look forward to connecting with you next time on another episode with Connecting Women Who Break Barriers. Until then, stay connected, stay positive, and know that you are not alone. You are worthy of an amazing life, and we're all here to help you create it.